In the previous lecture, we got started with WooCommerce development. Right now, we have this dilemma where we have two pages that aren't padded and have the sidebar messing up the structure of the page. The two pages are what WooCommerce calls product pages. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to the template structure documentation page. This page goes over how you would go about overriding the templates from WooCommerce. It's very similar to how you would go about overriding templates in BuddyPress. It says that templates can be found inside the WooCommerce/templates directory. Right below, you can find a link to the latest template changes. The latest changes were made in 3.5. It should be noted that not every WooCommerce update comes with a template change. If you can't find a version that's not here, it's because there were no template changes made during that time. Click on one of these links. You'll be taken to GitHub where the repository is hosted. This repo is the same file and folder structure we have downloaded in our WordPress site. If you take a look around, you'll notice we have a plethora of templates made available to us. Two things I want to highlight is that we have these folders called emails and globals. If I open the emails folder, you'll find all the email templates that WooCommerce will use whenever it needs to email a user about anything specific, like resetting a password or placing a new order. We'll be taking a more in-depth look at these in a future lecture. The other folder, globals, are templates that are used globally throughout WooCommerce. This is what we'll want to override in just a moment. Let's tackle one thing at a time. The very first thing I want to do is remove the sidebar from these two pages, since WooCommerce thinks it's necessary to take a full width page. We should just force WooCommerce to take the same amount of space as any other post, but I like this full width style. Just like last time, we have to search through all these templates to find the correct file to modify. I did this already, and it's easier than you may think. The two files we'll want to modify are the archive-product.php and single-product.php template files. If I were to open these two files, you'll see that WooCommerce provides helpful block comments stating that these two templates are used for displaying products. This is one way to save yourself time. Instead of studying HTML and comparing code, you can just read these comments where WooCommerce will describe what these templates do in more detail. Now that we've determined which two templates to modify, let's open them up inside the editor. Initially, the next step you may want to take is to copy this file, paste it into our themes folder, and modify it from there. But this would actually be the wrong action to take at this point. The reason for this is because WooCommerce does things slightly different than what most plugins do. This approach is very flexible and easier to work with once you understand how it works. So what am I talking about? Well, let's examine the code from the single product template for a moment. After looking around, you'll eventually find a spot in the code where it begins to load the sidebar using the WooCommerce sidebar hook. This might look a little weird at first. WooCommerce uses a hook to load the sidebar, but how? Well, let's take it one step at a time. WooCommerce is calling a function called doAction and running the hook WooCommerce sidebar. We already know what this does. Any code that hooks into this hook will be executed. That includes us as well. Right above this code, you'll see a block comment which is very important. It might seem like random information, but it's very useful to us. The @hooked symbol is telling us that WooCommerce hooks into this hook within itself. That may seem strange, but it's completely valid to do something like that. Reading further, you'll see the name of the function and the priority. Let's double check this to make sure this comment isn't lying. Feel free to follow along. Just watch what I do if you can't. I'm going to copy the hook WooCommerce sidebar. Then I'm going to right-click on the WooCommerce plugin folder and select Find in Folder. We only want to search through the code inside this plugin. Almost immediately, Visual Studio Code will show me all the locations where I can find this text within the WooCommerce plugin folder. We'll be returned with 5 results, 2 of which are comments which we can ignore. Another 2 results will be inside the doAction function. Right above each of these is the name of the files where the searched text can be found. The 2 files where this is used are the archive product and single product files. Just with that information alone, we can determine that this hook is specifically for product pages only. What we care most about is this first result, which uses the add action function. Let's click that and preview the code. You'll see that Woocommerce wants to call a function called Woocommerce getSidebar with a priority of 10. This is the same information that was given to us in the comment block previously. Let's check out what this function does. I'm going to do what I did last time. I'm going to copy the name of this function and then search for it from within the Woocommerce plugin folder. We don't care about most of these results. We only care about where the function is defined. I'm going to double-click on the result where the function is defined. Visual Studio Code will open that file and take you to where that function is defined. All this function does is call the function wcGetTemplate, which will load a template file. The template that will be loaded is the global/sidebar.php file. Just like BuddyPress, Woocommerce has a function that loads Woocommerce specific templates. This function will search for the template in two locations. The first location is inside our theme folder. Even though we don't have any Woocommerce templates, it'll look for a folder named Woocommerce and then find the template relative to the path passed in. If it doesn't find it there, then it'll look for the template inside the Woocommerce/templates plugin folder. Let's open this template from the Woocommerce plugin folder. There's quite a bit of code going on here, but it's mostly just comments. We're going to focus on this line here. To load a sidebar, all this template does is call the function getSidebar and pass in the string shop. If you don't remember, let me give you a brief overview of what this function does. This function will look for a template named sidebar.php inside the themes folder. However, if you pass in a string, it'll then look for a file named sidebar- followed by the name of the string and then end it with .php. In this example, it'll look for a template named sidebar-shop.php. This file doesn't exist in our theme, so WordPress will default to the sidebar.php file, which is what's happening here. This is why the sidebar is being loaded inside this shop page, even though it doesn't really work with a full width page. Now that we understand what's happening, we just have to remove it. There are a couple of solutions here. We can copy the archive products and single product templates to our theme and remove this line of code, or we can just grab the sidebar.php file from the globals folder and just remove it. Both approaches are wrong. The correct solution is to just remove the action. We haven't done this before, but you're completely allowed to do so, and it's easy to do. I'll explain why this is the best solution in a moment, but first let's try it out. I want you to open the theme's functions file and call the function removeAction. This does the opposite of what the addAction function does, which is remove an action function from running. The first parameter is the name of the action hook, which will be Woocommerce sidebar. The second parameter is the name of the function that we want to remove, which is the Woocommerce getSidebar function. The last parameter is the priority, which was 10. All this information can be grabbed from the comment block that contains this information. You don't have to search through the files like I did. Woocommerce does a good job of commenting everything, as you can see throughout this template. With this one line of code, we have removed the sidebar. Let's refresh the page and see if everything worked. As you can see, the sidebar is now gone. Alright, let's talk about the benefits of doing it like this. Instead of copying the templates and just modifying them, we save ourselves the time by doing something like this. Another benefit is that this code is so much easier to maintain. I would rather maintain one line of code as opposed to maintaining a whole template. Lastly, we actually open ourselves up to more flexibility. Even though we removed this function from the hook, other functions will still be allowed to run, even us. Let's test this out really quick. I'm going to create an action hook for the Woocommerce sidebar. I'm going to run an anonymous function just for example's sake. I'm going to simply echo out the word test. Refresh the page and you'll now see the message being outputted. If we were to remove the doAction function call from the template, then we limit ourselves and other plugins from needing to use this hook. This would be considered bad practice and would give more problems down the road. It is so much easier and simpler to just remove the function from the hook. I'm going to remove our anonymous function as we don't want to use it in production. The next step is to just add some padding, which is easier and doesn't require as much research. Inside the Globals folder, you'll find HTML that applies to almost all pages in Woocommerce. There are two templates called Wrapper Start and Wrapper End. These two templates generate code that wraps around all Woocommerce content, specifically templates that require their own templates rather than a shortcode. Open either of these files. If you take a look, you'll see that Woocommerce grabs the current name of the theme activated. It checks if any of the official WordPress themes are activated and will output different types of HTML depending on the theme. However, if the current theme isn't an official WordPress theme, then it'll just load these default div tags. Here's what we're going to do. In order to override existing templates, we have to create a folder named Woocommerce inside the theme folder. Let's do that now. Then we can just copy the templates respectively into this folder. I'm going to copy and paste the Globals footer into the Woocommerce folder in our theme. Then I'm going to delete everything inside this folder except for the Wrapper Start and Wrapper End files. Open both files. I'm going to remove the conditional statement since we already know that this isn't an official WordPress theme. I'm just going to leave the last set of opening and closing div tags in both files. Then I'm going to apply some classes to the first opening div tag. I want to add the content-wrap class. Then I'm going to apply the class container to the second main element. These are the same classes we use in our other templates. I'm going to refresh the page. You should now see our content being padded correctly. For the most part, I don't mind modifying these templates since they don't have any significant code that would cause problems with other plugins or our theme. Before I wrap up this lecture, I want to talk about keeping up with updates. If you look at the documentation page I linked earlier, you'll find a link to Fixing Outdated WooCommerce Templates. This page goes over what the title suggests. It's very simple to do. If you were to go to the admin dashboard and navigate to WooCommerce System Status, you'll find information about how WooCommerce is operating and if everything is working smoothly. If you scroll to the very bottom, you'll come across the Templates box. This box tells you what templates are being overridden. In our case, it would be the wrapper template files. Whenever an update occurs, you will always want to check this box. It'll give you a warning to let you know if the current template you have overridden is outdated. If it is, then you just simply need to paste in the new version and redo the changes you made. It's kind of a pain, but it's what you have to do. So, how does WooCommerce know when a template is outdated? Well, if you were to open up one of the overridden templates, you'll find a block comment. Inside this block comment, you'll find this one piece of data that says version followed by the version of the template. WooCommerce will check this value to see if it's outdated. It's extremely important that you always leave the block comments intact when overriding them. It's how you keep yourself up to date with the latest changes.